In 2006, the European Union and the government of the Philippines formed a partnership that gave rise to a series of justice support projects, beginning with the Access to Justice for the Poor program and the EU-Philippines Justice Support Program. A few years later, in 2013, the EU-Philippines Justice Support Program, or EPJUST II, was established to continue the initial efforts of the partnership. In just 3 years, EPJUST II has contributed significantly to the government's impressive efforts to make the Philippine justice system more effective, responsive, and accountable through improved capacities, strategies, and mechanisms. This was possible through the cooperation between the European Union and its Philippine partners, all for the achievement of equitable access to justice and its efficient and effective enforcement for all citizens, especially the poor and disadvantaged.
The EPJUST program supports 7 of the 9 priorities identified in the Philippine Development Plan under the rule of law component of the plan. This is very vital in ensuring economic growth, peace and order, and poverty alleviation efforts of the government.
We believe that the training and capacity development initiatives we develop with EPJUST II will eventually empower and capacitate our local service providers, especially our barangay workers, volunteers, to deliver justice-related services more effectively, especially the ones giving priority to the marginalized sectors of our society.
Specifically, EPJUST II addresses 3 key components. The first component enhances the accessibility to justice of Filipinos by facilitating people's access to legal information and assistance and enhancing the provision of quicker and fairer judicial services. The second component seeks to make the criminal justice system more effective in preventing and punishing major crimes in general and extralegal killings and enforced disappearances in particular through the improvement of the investigation, prosecution, and adjudication processes. The third component concerns enhancing transparency and accountability by strengthening the tools to measure the justice system's performance.
The component on access to justice, which is component 1, has as its primary target beneficiaries, of course, poor communities. And under component 1, therefore, the focus would be on mechanisms that will address the needs of the poor. The main project initiatives would revolve around legal aid, paralegalism, alternative dispute resolution, and these kinds of services and strategies.
For the past 3 years, INCMF has been very fortunate to have received generous support from the European Commission on 4 major activities and programs. The first one is paralegal training for Muslim Filipinos, wherein it is an intensive series of paralegal training for community leaders and stakeholders. For the publication, there are 3 major publications developed. First was the INCMF Legal Handbook, which contains various legal articles and documents very important to Muslim Filipinos. The second one is a paralegal training facilitators handbook. And the third one is a revision of the legal handbook, a second production, which expanded not only the Code of Muslim Personal Laws and the Guideline of Hijab, but it involved obligations and contracts, which are very important for Muslim Filipino settlers.
These programs, we are giving counsels to the communities and to let the community know their legal rights, constitutional rights, and other rights that involves on criminality or whatsoever problem in the community. And we will take it up to the concerned agencies like Ombudsman, the ILG.
Our partnership with EPJUST reinforced NCIP in this particular engagement purposely to improve the access of the indigenous peoples to justice.
Under the auspices of the EPJUST, we were able to come up with a new set of rules which is the 2014 revised rules of procedure. Second is that we were also given the privilege of setting up a case management system which is supposed to integrate all our records, case records, so much so that the records of one RHO will be accessible to the central office as well as to the other regional hearing offices to make the decisions consistent with each other, as well as to provide a basis or jurisprudence for their own decisions with reference to the decisions made either by the NBank or by the other regional hearing office.
The biggest problem in the Philippines is that there is a lack of trust and confidence from the citizenry towards the police or law enforcement in general. So therefore, one of our aims was to create a system, to enhance trust and confidence from the general public towards the police. And that is through what we call community and service-oriented policing that we implemented in 3 pilot sites in Palawan and Puerto Princesa, together with NAPOLCOM.
Basically, these are technical assistance being provided by the European Union to capacitate the criminal justice system. This includes training for the PNP, particularly in forensic investigation, development of manuals like the murder-homicide investigation manual, donation of IT equipment for our new generation investigation system or E-project.
With regards with our training, it enhances our skills and capabilities, especially in the field of crime scene investigation, the proper collection and handling of evidence collected from the crime scene.
In the part of fingerprint identification division, AFIS or automated fingerprint identification system, it helps a lot for the fingerprint examiner to categorize or to eliminate and to sort the evidence that found at the crime scene.
The aim of the partnership between the Philippine government and European Union through the EU Philippines Justice Support Program is to really enhance transparency and accountability for the justice sector in the Philippines. For example, install monitoring and evaluation mechanisms in the justice sector agencies. We helped enhance the police disciplinary machinery information system. So with the new system, the National Police Commission is able to better monitor the disciplinary cases. With this new system, then they can act on a case hopefully more timely, then the effect of holding people accountable is felt better.
It was good that the EU, through EPJUST I and II, was able to at least put up through the ILG and the CHR the so-called National Monitoring Mechanism. The NMM actually is composed of a tripartite sector convergence. The government, meaning the agencies plus the security forces, the Commission on Human Rights, and civil society organizations to be able to screen all the cases in relation to the unsolved extrajudicial cases and also enforce disappearances and torture from each region. That was already a good accomplishment because then we knew what we had to target very concretely.
I've been very encouraged and surprised by the commitment and enthusiasm with which our implementing partners for this project throughout all the government agencies and civil society concerned have shown throughout the period of implementation of EPJUST II.
We stand before you committed to the task of following through, sustaining and building on these gains for the benefit of all Filipinos, particularly for those most in need. I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to the European Commission for the support and generosity. We look forward to a continuing and fruitful partnership in the justice sector reform.
It has been a productive 3 years, and every partner agency and beneficiary of EPJUST II is optimistic that the fruits of the program will be enjoyed across the country and that every Filipino citizen, regardless of class, gender, and status, is much closer to a justice system that truly cares for the people it serves.